So thanks for joining, everyone. Today, I wanted to walk you through why we're here, the problem that we're solving, and how Appen can provide value to your business. So my name is Sasha McGrath, and I'm going to take you through a brief overview of Appen, and then I'm going to pass it over to my technical counterpart, Geoff, who will take you through a live demonstration of our platform. So why are we here? Everyone is wanting to do something with generative AI, right? I think it's the biggest buzzword in the industry over the past year. However, there's a problem that we've been seeing. You can only get value from your Gen AI use cases if they're in production, right? Well, the problem that we're seeing is in order to do that, it's going to require a deep understanding from your subject matter experts that are currently buried inside of your business. And this is something that we're seeing across the board, that companies are struggling to connect their people with their AI. So in order to solve for this, you're going to need to find a way to bridge the gap between your experts across data engineering and machine learning and data science and all of the different IT functions and capabilities. You want to have a nice seamless way to connect these people with your AI systems and models so that you can collaborate on creating the right data sets, the right prompts, creating the right processes, and connecting all of those things together so that you can ultimately capitalize on that underlying promise of the ROI for each one of those use cases. And so for all that to happen, we believe that a foundational element, a platform, very core and critical to your infrastructure, is needed to enable that connective tissue to happen. So why look at Appen? Well, we're uniquely qualified to be able to position this to you for a number of reasons. The first is that we've been doing this for a very long time, almost 3 decades, actually. And that's come with thousands of these projects and billions in revenue. So the people have really voted with their wallets to have us help design, architect, and scale these systems. But most importantly, in recent times, like right now, we're currently providing data to over 80% of the top model builders. So we've got a front row seat at how these model builders are working, as well as how the hyperscalers are trying to scale this out, and also how the Fortune 2000s are trying to apply this to their world. So it's a very unique position, and we are here to offer that back to you. So we're really privileged because we see a lot of different projects in a bunch of different areas. We're being asked to deliver projects with getting people sample data around multimodal with images and voice and text and data, doing this in multiple languages and helping them tune their LLMs or their foundational models, making sure the content is relevant and timely and appropriate. And we do this with making sure that all of these models are doing the right things and that they're battle tested. So I added a few slides here at the end to showcase where we've done this before. Microsoft, obviously, is an extremely innovative company, and they've partnered with Appen to help improve the quality of their search data. They were having problems with the accuracy of their search results, and that was causing major delays on their deliverables. And so with Appen's help, developers were able to benchmark performance and quickly enter and grow into new markets. Another really great use case is Mpushy. If you're not familiar with them, they're a platform that provides AI solutions for optimizing creation, delivery, management of notifications that are pushed out to subscribers. So they needed a tool that could provide multi-label annotation and classify data with audience targeting and GDPR compliance. And Appen was able to provide this to them at scale. We were able to capture over 200,000 campaigns across 35 different domains, 500 brands, and collect 223,000 judgments. So those are just a couple use cases, and if you want some more details on those use cases or maybe some examples from different industries, just go ahead and drop a note in the chat right there, and I would be happy to send over some more information. But now I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Geoff, who is going to take you through a live demonstration of our platform.
All right. Yeah, see, Vishal asked the question. I hopefully answered it quickly. I'll get into like the meat and potatoes here on my screen once I share. Okay, cool. All right. So you're asking what this is about. Yes, this is about, we're going to take a look at the demo of our platform. It's a data annotation platform. And let's get into it. Okay, so we'll be seeing in the demo, the Appen's AI data platform, which is tailored to support you in customizing your unique LLM-enabled applications, okay? With streamlined model connection, which we'll see, and use case templates crafted by experts, the UI is structured in a way to help guide you through the best practices and help you overcome challenges for addressing subjectivity. So our approach, and this is important, to LLM customization revolves around a data-centric strategy underpinned by human expertise or human in the loop. Simply, Appen's platform objective is to make it easy for you to bring human feedback into your LLM applications. Okay, so where do we start? We will start by clicking on the solid button here, and this will take us to a new page, which is my LLM journey page. And we have 5 different tabs here. So what are those tabs? Choose my model, prepare my data, build my prompts, optimize my model, and make my model safe. All right, as you can imagine, these are critical starting points of your LLM journey, depending on where you are in your model evaluation and labeling process. Specifically, today I'll be demonstrating A/B evaluation against live model responses, which only requires a few components of my LLM journey here, which I'm showing. These components are choose my model, optimize my model here, and then another component which we can't see currently, which is internal contributor management. So first, let's choose a model or models that we like to use in our data labeling job here. Okay, so at Appen, we're model agnostic. You can bring your own model. You can connect to one or many open source models within our platform. There's 2 particular public use models that are provided under our model templates. So if I click here, add model, which are ChatGPT and Cohere's models. If I click on one of these, everything's filled out for us, which is really, really nice. All the required fields are filled out with the exception of the secret key. So either if you have the secret key handy, you can enter it here, or you can go to the respective models API website in order to get your secret key. So all you have to do is add your secret key here, click save, and then you'll quickly be able to connect to the model within our platform. So as you can see, I did that just here. I did ChatGPT and Cohere, which are the 2 templates that were provided in here. I just added my secret key. And this is what we'll be using for our data annotation job today. Okay, so that was pretty easy. I know I already did it beforehand, but it is easy just because we have the templates. Now we have to add our project resources and or our individual contributors in order to annotate in this particular task. Okay. So upon clicking our project resources, we are presented with 2 particular tabs. The first tab being contributors, the second tab being models, which we just saw before. Okay, these are the 2 places where you can configure your models or project resources, which is like pretty convenient in my opinion. And also you can do it at the job level as well if you want. Okay, internal contributor management, what is that? So this feature we're looking at is called internal contributor management. This allows you to securely bring your own custom workforce to your projects. Anyone with access to the platform, and if they're on your specific team, can add contributors to your team's project resources and assign them to jobs within your projects. So think, if you have domain experts or you have SMEs that you'd like to add to your particular projects, this is a good way to do so. Okay, so I'll show you how quickly and easy that is to do. I can enter an email address here, this is my email address with my particular name, and I can add myself here. Alternatively, I can bulk upload contributors via CSV, which is what I would recommend. Okay, so I'll just add another version of myself here at appen.com. Boom, that simple. There we go. All right, another added feature that's handy to use is contributor groups. For each of the contributors, they can be added to one or many groups. So contributor groups can be an efficient way to assign contributors in bulk to specific tasks in your project. If you have, like I was saying before, projects that require domain-specific expertise, such as coding in Java or Python, or have expertise in math, the contributor groups is a great feature to leverage in order to segment your domain experts into curated crowds, which can be easily accessed in your tasks and projects. So contributor groups can be created from the All Contributors page, or can be created from the Contributors Group tab with a few clicks. So I can show you how to do that. I'll import my contributors. I'll add my new ID here. I'll create a name, demo group 2. And boom, there we go. So that was pretty straightforward. So we've quickly configured our model. We've added our individual contributors, created a contributor group from the contributors, which will make it easier for us to select the correct domain experts for this task. Now we get to the fun part, which is setting up our project or setting up our task in a project by selecting the appropriate template in the LLM templates page. So I'll go back to this page. Okay, the template that we'll be using to build this task is in the Optimize My Model tab. So I'll click that. The template that we're using is the A/B evaluation on live model responses. So for this particular task, what we'll be doing is given a prompt, generate 2 different responses, A and B, by 2 different models. We'll be evaluating response or those responses and selecting which response we prefer. Additionally, we will be adding in a question for extracting additional information from the model response. Okay, when clicking on the card in the UI, it'll provide you with the instructions or guidelines for the tasks, which is pretty nice. And templates, just so you know, is a good starting point for your project or for your task for your project. But a template is not meant to be used as is, right? I highly recommend if you are using templates that you iterate over the template and ensure that your model configuration is set up correctly, your instructions suit your annotation needs, and you test it internally to make sure that the task aligns with the guidelines and is generating responses that you'd like to see on output, obviously. Okay, so focusing back on this template, we can see if I scroll down, the template contains what we call our AI chat feedback tool, which is a tool on our platform that allows contributors to interact with the live model endpoints. I'll go ahead and select use this template. All right. And call it demo T A/B evaluation on live model endpoints or live model responses. Okay. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to be including the sample data for this particular project. By keeping this selected, it'll provide me with 5 sample units to annotate or test from. And then included in the sample data, which we'll see, are pre-seeded prompts that we'll be using for evaluation. All right, it is creating. Cool. All right. After clicking create, as we can see, now we have a new project. The UI has directed me to our Canvas page for this particular project, and it has 3 nodes. First node being the dataset node, second being our work task node, and then the third being the QA node. Okay, I want to validate that the dataset included with the template has the prompts that I need. In order to do that, let's click on the dataset button here. Cool. All right, so the dataset page here is a page where you can manage all of your data for your particular project. You can add more units to this page via the UI here, or you can do that programmatically via the API. You can also apply filters on that data if you'd like, and perform bulk action on the filtered data, such as delete or route data to jobs. So similar to internal contributor management feature, you can create data groups for units that you'd like to target and send those particular data groups to specific jobs. Or it's also helpful if you want to perform work in a particular order based off of data groups that you provide. Okay, so for our data set, let's take a look at the template or the preceded prompts that were included with the template. All right. So here we can see we have all the prompts. I'll zoom in here so y'all can see that easily. So the reason why preceded prompts are included is because I want to have a consistent set of prompts to test my model as changes are made. These will serve as our benchmarking prompts for this particular effort. You can upload as many rows as needed and include the relevant preceded prompts for your model that you're trying to build. Also note that you don't necessarily have to have preceded prompts. Our tool can work without it. You can rely on your SMEs or whoever's performing this task to create and write their own prompts in the tool if you choose. Cool. All right. So now let's go over to the job and customize the job for our use case. I also want to make sure that the models are configured for this particular tasks. And I want to make sure that the attributes are set up correctly for us for this task. And it's also important that we add in the task our domain expert group that we just created and assign them to the task prior to launching. Cool. All right, so this is our task here. And what we see is our code editor or CML editor. CML stands for custom markup language, which is made up of helper tags in a format and syntax similar to standard HTML. As we can see in the CML editor, we have the chat or AI chat feedback tool here and different attributes that are referenced here and are to make up our particular task. So the attribute that we really care about right now is our source data attribute because we have to reference our model correctly here, which is model IDs 160 and 161, which I'll update here. And alternatively, if we want to manually update this, we can also include this as source data as a column with our data set, our source data set. So I'll save this. I'll also enable our models quickly for this particular task. Save this. And again, just confirming 161 ChatGPT, 160 is Cohere's model. Cool. All right. So let's quickly take a look at the attributes that we care about right now for this task. Source data, we've updated this. The seed is referencing to the prompt column in our source data. So that's preceded, and we'll see that in the tool. Validates equals required is just ensuring that contributors annotate this prior to submitting the task, right? Max turns equals 1 controls the maximum number of turns a contributor must complete before submitting their judgment. In our case, we just want a single turn for the initial A/B evaluation. I'm going to change rich to false here. Rich equals true. Essentially, just enables contributors to integrate the rich text editor in the main tool input box. But because we're using a preceded prompt, we're not going to have to write in anything, which is nice. Enhanced equals true. I'm turning this on. And this is used in cases where contributors are asked to choose between responses from multiple models. This attribute allows them to provide additional detail about their choice. Okay, so I will go ahead and save this. And I'll open up the job preview. Okay, so this is what the job preview looks like. I'll scroll back up here. I've already submitted the job preview, so I've already submitted the prompt to the responses to save us some time here. But the first thing we see when we look at the preview is obviously the guidelines are the instructions for this particular task. And then we scroll down and then we see the preceded prompt below, which gets sent to the models. And then we see the responses from the model. And we have A and B here for us to make our preference selection. Okay. Also note, when we submit this particular prompt to the models, it'll wait until both responses are loaded to ensure that there isn't any bias caused by reviewing a particular response before another. And it's also worth noting that contributors will not be aware of which models are being used, nor will they know which model response belongs to which model. And as you can imagine, this helps in controlling bias and selection preference when annotating. You can also enable only one model if you want. or more than 2 models if you'd like to do comparison across other models. Cool. So like I said before, earlier on, we want to add an additional component to this annotation task, which would be a question for each respondent to answer before they make their judgment on this particular task. So let's go back to the job design page, and we will add in another question here in our ontology. And I'll click the multiple choice selection. And the question that I want to add is, does this response contain any inaccurate information? Yes or no. Click done, and I'll click save. Okay, so now what will this look like in preview? We've added this particular question, and I'll show you what that looks like now. So this is a different preceded prompt, but all else is the same with the included extra question here. So we got the response back. Our prompt was list of 10 blog post titles for a blog using AI to improve user experience from an e-commerce app. And then we review these responses. After reviewing the response, then we answer our question, does the response contain inaccurate information, yes or no? Save that. Also do the same for the other response, yes or no. Save that. And then now we make our preference selection. And then is this response much better or slightly better than the other one? And then now we can submit our judgment. Cool. Should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so we will now go to job settings, right? Our job is successfully configured, and we can go ahead and get our job ready for launch. So we set up our contributors earlier on. Let's add those particular contributors to this task. And in order to do so, I'll click on Manage Contributors. Okay. And we'll assign our contributors to the contributor group that we created before. So we'll select contributor groups, demo group 2, and then assign them to this particular task. Okay, so after successfully adding our contributor group, we'll go back to our job settings, make sure that we have judgments per row configured to 1, and then we'll start our data routing. A modal pop-up will ask us to confirm the judgments per row that was configured. We'll click confirm. And then after I launch this job, the contributors who are assigned this task will get an email notification letting them know that there's work available for them. Okay, so go back to job settings. All right. So I will check judgments per row. 1 is correct. And let's start data routing. Confirm my settings. Cool. All right. So now I just have to run the job. Confirm that we're running the job without any judgeable data because we don't have data yet in this particular job. So now what we have to do is go back to the dataset page and select all the units available and send them to the job. And then we'll be sending them to A/B evaluation and live model responses. Units are now added to the particular job. And so we can see we have 5 total units here. Cool. So now we've routed the units to this particular job. We'll see that the units are in a judgeable state. All the units are ready for annotation. When the contributors or your SMEs receive the email will contain a link to the task. When they click on the link in the email, if they have an existing account, it'll take them directly to the task. If not, it'll take them to a login, and it's a really easy and quick login, and they'll be ready to then annotate in your particular task. Okay, so let me open up the task link. You can also use this particular internal public link here to annotate your task as well, which I'm going to do for the sake of this demo. Okay, let's open up our work task here. All right, cool. So now this is the actual live version of our task, right? It's available to annotate for our contributors that we targeted, which is great. A random unit will be assigned to me. The random unit just happened to be the unit that we saw before. We're only dealing with 5 units, but the random unit will be assigned to me. And then we'll also have that preceded prompt for this particular unit. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, I have 30 minutes to complete this task. The time limit can be adjusted prior to launching this job if you want to do that. Okay, so I'll now send this unit off to the models. All right. Now I'll just take a second here. That was pretty quick. Cool. So now I'll quickly, now that I have the responses, I'll quickly perform my annotation. Yes, do this. Yes. And then select which one I prefer. This is one that we saw earlier. With this one, slightly better. And then now I've made my annotation, I can submit and continue on to the next unit. We'll just perform a validation on this particular unit to make sure that all questions were answered prior to submitting the page, and it was a pass validation. And again, the contributors will always see, your SMEs will always see the guidelines prior to seeing the work task, which ensures that they are aware of what you're trying to, or what you're asking them to do within the particular task, the step that they should do the task in, and some of the rules and tips that they should follow in order to perform the task per your guidelines. Cool. All right, so now I've submitted a unit of work. We'll go back to the dataset page to see what that looks like here. Okay, so we can now see that we have the submitted judgments made on the unit that were annotated, and we have other units that are in judgeable state, which haven't been assigned for work yet. We have the unit that was assigned to me currently that I have right here that I'm working on. And then most importantly, I want to see in the UI what my judgments look like, right? So if I'm a project author, I want to see how my SME performed in this particular task. And I can go here and review in the UI to see how they annotated this particular task. Obviously, most of us will want to do this via like a CSV and perform some data post-processing on this, which you can definitely do via an exported CSV or via the API and downloading the annotation report. But again, we can just see here quickly, yes, and yes. And then this one was slightly better for this particular unit. That's it. That's a demo. The Appen team appreciates you taking time to attend the presentation. I'll stop sharing my screen. I think that should have worked. We'll stay around for a few more minutes to take any questions from the chat if there are any. And if you have any additional questions after the time or interest in how Appen can help you with your Gen AI solutions, we'd love to connect with you via LinkedIn and schedule a call with you after the presentation. Thank you. And if there are no questions, we'll finish the session.
I think we have one request in there.
Yeah, Faraz, share a link on how to get started here. Yeah, definitely. I can share a link with you on how you can get started here. More than happy to. And we also have like a documentation center, as you can imagine, which is kind of, it'll help you kind of get started and understand what our capabilities are. And again, this is just one facet of our platform. There are many other facets of the platform. And yeah.
All right. I think that about wraps it up. Yeah, thank you everyone so much for joining. I put our LinkedIns in the chat there, so feel free to connect with us or just direct message us on here. But we really appreciate it.
Thanks all.
Thanks all.